Benny Johnson goes on the PBD podcast today. He absolutely destroys Adam Sosnick about President Trump's tariffs. Adam Sosnick has no clue what he's talking about, makes a complete fool of himself once again. But if you notice, he's not the typical overly obnoxious Sosnick because he knows that Benny Johnson is very skilled and very knowledgeable at what he does. So he decides to stay quiet. Let's jump right in.
Go up 2,900 yesterday. If you look at the stock market right now, it's down 935 is where Dow is right now. If you look at the Dow right now, it's 935. Adam, where are you at with this? With the announcement yesterday that they put a pause, and then today, markets down 1,000, specifically the Dow. What are your thoughts on this?
Am I the only one that is so confused of what's even going on right now? Everyone, like, I'm in group text messages with my friends. One does business in China. He's freaking out. Another one's a financial advisor. Another one's a MAGA extremist.
Yeah, it's so confusing, Adam. President Trump is just doing what other countries do to America, but only your liberal brain can't understand that. Just so complicated for you to figure out. Here, I'm going to tell you what President Trump's going to do. He's going to win like he always does.
And I'm just watching the chaos ensue, and nobody knows what's going on. I was watching The Office recently. Do you remember that? You guys watch The Office?
Yeah.
So, do you remember, like, one of the most famous episodes was the fire alarm episode?
Yes, that's good.
Okay. So Dwight Schrute, like, casually starts a fire. Michael Scott, who's basically Trump of The Office, just, yeah, fire! And just, okay, it's happening. Everyone for themselves. Everyone's freaking out. A lady tries to go through the roof, throws her cat through the roof. Fat guy takes a chair, throws it to the vending machine. He's still in on the food. The black guy just literally faints, almost dies. All this chaos, smoke, craziness, everyone. Then all of a sudden, Dwight blows the fire alarm, goes, yeah, just kidding, guys. This was all just a test. This was all a test to see how everyone reacts. And that's what I feel is going on right now. Trump threw all this chaos to the marketplace. And then
this idiot really wants you to believe that President Trump doesn't have a strategy. Look at what Trump has built his entire life. Look at his portfolio. Look at whatever. Just research what President Trump has built. And Adam wants you to think he's like some naive college kid whose parents gave him money. You think that President Trump doesn't have a plan or know what he's doing? That's the narrative you're trying to spin? You sound like a complete moron.
Yesterday, after the market's getting pummeled, pulls the alarm. All right, no reciprocal tariffs. Everything's off. All a test, 10% across the board. Market comes back and has its best day in decades, possibly ever. And I'm just looking, I'm like, what kind of chaos candidate is happening? I feel like I'm living in The Office right now. So anyone out there who can basically...
Trump is a chaos candidate, but you don't call your daddy Joe Biden that? Open border, inflation through the roof, our enemies creating World War III around the world. So that label belongs on corrupt Joe Biden and the Biden crime family. President Trump, is the only person bringing back normalcy, law and order, and a better economy for American citizens than any politician that's involved in politics. But Adam Sosnick, he just can't get this. His liberal pea brain just can't accept reality. He has to constantly paint Trump like Trump is some maniac that has no clue what he's doing, and he's just a candidate that the angry American citizens elected because they feel like the media lied to them, or they're just angry. Anybody that voted for Trump is angry and not educated. That's what Adam Sosnick tries to imply.
Say, oh, I know exactly what's going on right now. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. Trump, what are the chances that Trump actually planned on basically like, nah, my bad, reverse the tariffs? Do you think that was his plan all along? I'm trying to keep up. I feel like we're all trying to keep up. What I do know is this. Something needed to be done about China.
Yeah.
Something needed to be done. So to sit back and just take it on the chin, they're stealing our stuff, all our IP, they're not playing by the rules. You're seeing these clips come out. This is like video never lies. Chuck Schumer's giving speeches. We got to deal with China 20 years ago. All of a sudden, he's reversed course on that. So everything's kind of playing out. Chaos is ensuing, as Pat always says. Brace for impact. Stack cash in the meantime.
And listen, I'm not in the finance world. Like tariffs. I don't know what. Listen, all I know is it's been less than how many months has Trump been in? 2 months?
Been 3 months.
Almost 3 months?
Yeah.
Let him cook. Let him.
I mean, Vinny, come on. I'm all for Vinny all the time. It's very simple, a tariff. All the other countries, when America imports goods, they add a percentage to it that they get to keep. And guess who's the only country who doesn't add tariffs to other countries' products? America. So we get screwed all the time. It's a simple, it's very logical, very simple process to understand. Whatever you do to America, tariff-wise, President Trump is going to do to you. If you put a 25% tariff, so is America. You're not going to get over on us anymore. This isn't complicated.
Him do what the hell he's gonna do. It drives me crazy too. People that act like they know what's going on. People like one of my friends was like, dude, did you hear about what the hell did you do reciprocal? I go, bro, you have no idea what that word even means. You live with your mother. Shut the hell up. I'm being dead serious. Let him do what he's gonna do. Then I've said this analogy before. The country has had a dislocated shoulder. Trump came in, pulled his shoulder back. Everybody relax. It's gonna be sore for a little while. It's gonna be a little up and down. But Pat, you made a great point. It's China. At the end of the day, I'm not even going to get into the list of all the crap that they've been doing, stealing, COVID, you name it. That's the enemy. He knows who it is, and this time he has the ammunition. He doesn't have Russia collusion or all this crap happening behind him. He's focused. He knows what he's doing. People need to relax and just let his ass cook.
Let me just respond with one thing. For those of us that are out there just rooting against Trump and rooting against the tariffs, you're not being patriotic. You're actually just against American workers and American companies and genuinely America. Like, you're not, if you're like, I want this to fail, you're not.
Really, Adam? You're so enlightened all of a sudden. You'll say that you're against American workers. If you're just anti-Trump, you're against American workers and Americans, but then you vote for Democrats and you vote for every Democratic candidate. What do you think? Who do you think they're against, Adam? Since you're such a rocket scientist, who do you think Democrats are against? The working man. But you'll still vote for him. So I love when Adam he pretends like he has a moment of clarity and he's just the mature voice in the room. He can never make up his mind what side he's on.
Not exactly very patriotic. At the same time, if you're just sort of blindly following Trump, he can do no wrong, don't question anything, you're also kind of not patriotic. You're just drinking the Kool-Aid. So I think it's totally fair to criticize, to critique, but also root for victory here. Because, again, there's chaos ensuing right now. I don't know. I mean, Pat, I would love to hear what you have to say.
If you just blindly follow Trump, you're just drinking the Kool-Aid. The man that secured the border in the first 100 days, brought down inflation, gas prices lowest it's ever been in 4 years, resetting the market. He has to put tariffs on all these other countries to reset the market, to bring back American manufacturing jobs. But that's drinking the Kool-Aid, right, Adam? You're a pro-Trumper. You're going to be duped somehow. Adam has no clue what he's talking about. He's a complete moron.
Is there an actual plan here? Because the plan just kind of keeps shifting. I think the general idea of what he's doing makes sense, but the actual implementation is causing chaos in the marketplace.
I think you're looking at it in a very different way. Let me give you my perspective. So Kramer actually has got an interesting point here. CNBC. 4 lessons he's sharing from Trump's turmoil. Nobody ever made a dime panicking. Bulls make money. Bears make money. Pigs get slaughtered. Mm-hmm. The president likes drama. You won't get certainty. And don't bet against good companies. Let's go to number 3. How many years of watching Trump do we have so far?
Decade. 50?
50 years of watching Trump.
50.
What do we know about his resume?
He doesn't lose.
This would be my point. This would be my point to all this. Like, it's chaos. We didn't know. Oh my God. Fire drill. Yeah, I've been paying attention because Dwight's been trying to set the fire for 50 years. Dwight's been sitting there with his cigarette because he lights it with a cigarette. He's been sitting there for 50 years lighting that cigarette, putting it in the trash. Donald Trump, you can go back to the 70s. Donald Trump's sitting there in his earliest interviews. The guy's maybe late 20s. And he's sitting there and he's going, these companies, they're ripping us off. It's terrible. And we got to do something about it. And we should put up tariffs. And they're abusing us. We played clip after clip after clip. You can find so many of them. One's great one with Roger Ailes. One of the first Fox News interviews was Donald Trump and Roger Ailes, and they're sitting here in this like golf course, and Trump's just going off in 1995. Damn. And he's just going off on Japan at the time because China wasn't in the World Trade Organization. But it was Japan at the time, and he's like, they're ripping us off, and he's talking about Japanese vehicles. And saying, why are we so weak? Why are we such pussies? And why can't we tariff Japanese vehicles back? And all you have to do is then reapply that to China entering the World Trade Organization that has rules. There's rules. We let them into the WTO. They've never followed the rules. They've only ever stolen IPs. If you have buddies that do business in China, every one of them will tell you that the number one thing that will happen if you bring an innovation to China and manufacture it there is 100 different versions of your product will pop up on Temu and Amazon the next day. They'll steal it. They'll rip you off, and you have no grounds in Chinese courts to file for patents. You're screwed. You're completely effed as an American innovator. They are thieves. They're a technocracy that the World Economic Forum has created as the new superstate to take down Western civilization. They are an absolute abomination, and they're a total and complete dictatorship, closed society. So what's the actual end goal here? I think the destruction of globalism. China is the model superstate for what they wanted to bring to the rest of the world. China was the laboratory. They cooked in that laboratory to bring a technocracy, dictatorship, single-party rule where all of us are slaves. Every one of us is slaves. Western civilization is gone. Religion is gone. Free market's gone. And we have this new overlords. It's exporting slavery to the rest of the world, and China was the first laboratory. They needed it to work so they could bring that model out. And you've seen that model actually start popping up little places. And Trump is slamming that model's head against the locker, putting it down. And that's, I think, what is actually happening here. The destruction of the horrific future they had planned for all of us, the COVID-level lockdowns, all of us living in these little pods and boxes and eating the bugs. That's what they had planned. China's it, and they want to destroy that right now. Final thing I'll say to your allegory of The Office. Let's say you had a business and you were able to actually see who was betting against the business. You have a bunch of employees. There are 187 countries in the world. You have 187 employees. And you're able to actually open up the trades and see who's shorting your company, your publicly traded company. You're able to open up the trades, and they're not anonymous, and see who's betting on the company. What employees are taking like the $5-10 they have a month and like betting that your company will succeed and like putting that in, driving that into the stock and driving that equity into your security. And which employees are saying, I'm going to screw this company over. I'm going to make a fortune with this when this company goes down. And they're working inside your company. That's the World Trade Organization. China's that employee. They're betting against us who run the global economy. And Trump turned the lights on. Trump was able to reveal who was shorting the American market. And it was China. And he caught them dead to rights with their dick in their hands.
I love what you just said. The day before yesterday on podcast, I talked about.
You notice how Adam doesn't have any rebuttal to what Benny Johnson just said. So Adam, before Benny spoke, was trashing Trump once again. You know, he's the candidate that's insane, that's not in control of himself and acts off emotion and doesn't have a plan. And Benny absolutely destroys that narrative, and Adam just sits there and has nothing to say. Adam is a complete I don't think he's a moron. You know why? Well, he is a moron, but I think that he's a plant. I think he's a Democratic plant. I don't know how he got a job on the PBD show. If you can't see that Trump is the only answer to globalism, border, inflation, everything that's wrong in America, if you think that some Democrat is going to save us all, you really need to go to a mental institution. Because Donald Trump, if it wasn't for President Trump doing everything that he's doing and Kamala Harris won, you could have kissed the United States of America goodbye. And I don't care about these tariffs. If I have to suffer short term and pay more for goods for a little while to the market resets, you have to do this. If you want America to exist, 100 years from now and American citizens to be free of globalism, you don't have a choice but to add these tariffs to all these other countries just like they do to us. Thank God for President Trump. Resist globalism, resist liberalism. It's a disease.